Alan Dershowitz has a serious issue with a left-wing George Soros-financed website Media Matters. The Harvard Law School professor joins us by phone. Hello, Alan.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
This has to do with the website's depiction of Israel. Please tell us what it's all about.
Well, it's actually more about its depiction of Americans. It depicts Americans who support Israel, and the vast majority of Americans do support Israel. We have dual loyalty to Israel that we place above our loyalty to this country. For example, AIPAC, which is one of the most respected lobbies in Washington, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. The President of the United States is going to be speaking in front of it in the next few weeks, and I have spoken in front of it. Many senators, congressmen have spoken there. Here's what Media Matters says about AIPAC. Saying AIPAC is guilty of dual loyalty is giving it credit for one more loyalty than it holds. In other words, it essentially accuses AIPAC of treason, of being disloyal to the United States, of having no loyalty to the United States. It calls Benjamin Netanyahu a terrorist. It calls the president of Israel, Shimon Peres, who everybody knows is a peace-loving man, an uber hawk on Iran. It praises essentially anti-Semites who have said that Israel, for example, Helen Thomas, it praises Helen Thomas, who said that, Israelis ought to get the hell out of Israel and go back to Poland or whatever, and says that she should be saluted. And it condemns President Obama for having dissed her at a press conference. Basically, it says that Iran is not interested in getting the bomb, and if they do get the bomb, we are fully capable of containing a nuclear Iran. It is such a vicious organization, and its leading spokesman on Israel, a man named M.J. Rosenberg, has crossed the line, essentially, from anti-Israel to anti-Zionism to anti-Semitism.
You say you're launching a serious campaign against Media Matters. Please tell us about it.
Well, I don't believe that Media Matters should be respected by the White House and by President Obama. I have no reason to believe that President Obama knows about these horrible accusations that have been made against millions of Americans, because if so, obviously he's speaking at AIPAC, and one of his best friends is the president of AIPAC, a man named Lee Rosenberg from Chicago. So I don't believe the president knows about this, but the White House is in close touch with Media Matters, and they have to disassociate themselves from Media Matters unless Media Matters fires this bigot, M.J. Rosenberg, and distance itself from his statements and apologizes for what he has said. Otherwise, this becomes a major election issue. This becomes a little bit like the Reverend Wright issue in the last election, but there the president did the right thing. He disassociated himself from the bigotry of Reverend Wright. Now he has to disassociate himself from the bigotry of Rosenberg and of Media Matters.
Alan, please detail a little bit that association you mentioned between the White House and Media Matters.
Well, Media Matters certainly claims that it is close to the White House. It has periodic briefings with the White House. It has had meetings with people very close to the president. Look, I can understand why the White House would like some aspects of what Media Matters does. Media Matters was first founded in order to be a kind of offset to Fox News, fair and balanced Fox News. Media Matters claimed they weren't really fair and balanced, and they were going to attack Fox. They called it the Fox Hunt.
Alan, in your opinion, is Media Matters, are they violating their tax-exempt status?
It could very well be. I mean, they are certainly getting involved in very, very partisan political issues. That's something really for the IRS to look into. I think they're violating their trust to Americans, and they are not an objective organization, and they have crossed the line into bigotry. And George Washington said 200 and something years ago, to bigotry we will give no sanction. He said, in America, we are all equal, and we do not tolerate bigots, and M.J. Rosenberg is a bigot.
George Soros finances Media Matters. He himself is of Jewish heritage. What blame does he deserve, and why would he support an organization which you say is anti-Israel?
And has crossed the line to anti-Semitism. When you accuse Jews of being Israel firsters, that crosses the line. M.J. Rosenberg is Jewish, too. Look, let's remember, Jews voted for Mussolini. Jews vote, individual Jews voted for Stalin. Jews do things that everybody else does. They can act foolishly, and Soros has said over and over again that he is very anti-Zionist. He would never support a Zionist organization. He doesn't like Israel. He may have been born Jewish, but he turned against his own people even during the Second World War. And I don't have a lot of respect for George Soros. He makes a lot of money, but his political views are very, very hard left and often very, very antagonistic to American interests.
Do you think Obama is supportive enough of Israel?
I think Obama supports Israel's security. I think he's been critical of the settlements in Israel, but I've been critical of the settlements in Israel. I think it's fair to be critical of Israeli policies, as you can be critical of American policies. I'm, as I said, a loyal patriot of this country, and I criticize some of our own policies, and I support many of our own policies. The true test of Obama's support for Israel will come over Iran. Iran poses an existential threat, not only to Israel's existence, but to America's safety. And I just hope, because I know Obama, I like Obama, I voted for Obama, I hope he is not remembered in history as the Neville Chamberlain of the 21st century, the person who didn't see the greatest evil, didn't recognize the greatest evil of the 20th century, as Chamberlain did not.
Is he showing good leadership in dealing with Iran and its quest for nuclear weapons?
He is, and his many of his subordinates are not. Panetta has not been. He has been talking with mixed messages. Dempsey, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, has not been. He made the absurd statement that Iran should be considered a rational actor. Rational actors don't kill their own people. Rational actors don't slaughter and execute thousands of their own people. Rational actors don't deny the Holocaust. Rational actors don't call for the state of Israel to be wiped off the map. So I think the administration has not been doing a good job. I think the president has generally done a very good job.
Could all this have an effect on the outcome of the presidential election?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Swing states include Florida, which is a very, very strong pro-Israel population, not only among the Jews of southern Florida, but among Christians in central Florida and northern Florida. Pennsylvania is a swing state. Ohio is a swing state. Michigan is a swing state. Many of the swing states could turn, in part at least, on issues of foreign policy, support for Israel, opposition to Iran getting nuclear weapons. If Iran would have developed nuclear weapons prior to the election, that would be a disaster for Obama's re-election prospects.
Professor Alan Dershowitz, thanks so much, sir. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.